They say insulin is the enemy, the hormone that makes you fat, the signal you should avoid. But inside your body, insulin is doing something entirely different. It's not just controlling sugar, it's coordinating repair. It's signaling growth. It's deciding whether your cells eat or starve. And when insulin stays low for hours, maybe through fasting, through sleep, through restriction, your body doesn't just burn fat, it shifts into a different metabolic state, one that changes how your liver works, how your muscles hold on to protein, how your brain finds fuel. Some of it is recovery, some of it is stress, and some of it is damage you don't feel yet. So what really happens when insulin stays quiet for too long? Let's begin. The first hours without insulin. When the signal goes, quiet, your last meal is over. Digestion slows. Well, blood sugar stabilizes. And then quietly insulin begins to fall. Insulin is not a villain, it is a messenger. When it's present, it tells your cells, there is fuel, store it, build with it, grow. But when it drops, the message changes. Your liver stops storing glucose. It starts releasing it. Your fat cells, which were holding onto triglycerides, begin to unlock them. Your muscles shift from burning sugar to burning fat. This is not damage. This is design. For the first 2 to 4 hours, your body is simply switching fuel sources. Glucose from your last meal is gone. Glycogen in your liver starts breaking down. Fatty acids enter the bloodstream. Your pancreas stays quiet. Insulin stays low. And your cells begin to rely on something else. Lipids, ketones, and their own stored energy. This is the metabolic crossroad. And in the body in between states, it's neither fed nor fasted, it's transitioning. And in this window, something subtle begins. Your cells start sensing nutrient absence. Not hunger, not starvation, just silence. That silence will either become rest or it will become stress. What the liver does in insulin's absence. The liver's quiet shift. Your liver is not just a filter. It's a fuel depot, a factory, a decision maker. When insulin is high, the liver stores glucose as glycogen. It builds fat from excess carbs. It stays anabolic, building, holding, preserving. But when insulin falls and stays low, the liver changes roles. First, it releases stored glycogen. That lasts about 12 to 18 hours, depending on your activity and your last meal. After that, the liver starts making glucose from scratch. This process is called gluconeogenesis. Your liver takes amino acids, often from muscle tissue, and converts them into sugar. Not because you're eating sugar, because your brain, your red blood cells, and certain tissues need glucose to survive. So your body cannibalizes itself, gently, quietly. At the same time, the liver begins breaking down fatty acids into ketones, molecules your brain can use as backup fuel. Ketones are clean, efficient. They create less oxidative waste than glucose, but producing them requires the liver to work harder, to metabolize fat continuously, to balance acid levels in the blood. And if this state continues for hours, into days, the liver doesn't rest, it runs. It becomes a 24-hour fuel manufacturer, and that effort over time creates metabolic strain. Not immediately, not obviously, but it's there. When how muscles respond to prolonged low insulin muscle in the absence of growth. Signals your muscles are not static. They are constantly breaking down and rebuilding. Every day, muscle fibers degrade. Every day, your body tries to repair them. This process is called protein turnover, and it requires two things: amino acids and anabolic signals. Insulin is one of those signals. When insulin is present, it tells muscle cells to absorb amino acids, to activate mTOR pathways, to build, to grow, to repair. But when insulin stays low for hours, especially during fasting or extreme carbohydrate restriction, that signal fades. Protein synthesis slows. Your muscles still break down, but they rebuild more slowly. In the short term, this is not a crisis. Your body can pull amino acids from digested protein or from stored reserves. But if low insulin becomes chronic, if you're constantly fasting, under-eating, or in deep ketosis without adequate protein, the balance tips. Muscle begins to shrink. Not dramatically, not visibly at first, but over weeks and months you lose density, strength, recovery capacity. Your body prioritizes survival over structure. It will sacrifice muscle to keep your brain and organs fed. And here's the paradox. People pursuing low insulin for fat loss may also be quietly losing the very tissue that keeps metabolism strong. You won't feel it immediately, but your body is making the trade. The brain on low insulin and ketones. When the brain switches fuel. Your brain is expensive. It uses about 20% of your body's total energy, despite being only 2% of your weight. Normally, it runs on glucose, a steady stream from your blood. You're not regulated by insulin. But when insulin stays low and glucose becomes scarce, your brain adapts. It begins to use ketones. Ketones are produced when your liver breaks down fat in the absence of insulin. They cross the blood-brain barrier and fuel neurons directly. Many people report clarity on ketones, focus, stable energy, no crashes, and there's truth to that. Ketones burn clean. They produce less oxidative stress than glucose. They may reduce inflammation in certain brain regions. But there's a cost. Your brain still needs some glucose. Certain cells, especially in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, don't run well on ketones alone. If insulin stays too low for too long and glucose becomes limited, the brain begins to sense deficiency. You may not feel it as confusion. You feel it as subtle cognitive fatigue, slower recall, muted emotional range, trouble accessing long-term memory under stress. Your brain is surviving, but it's not thriving. And over months, chronic low insulin without adequate refueling windows can lead to hormonal suppression, especially thyroid and reproductive hormones, which further affect brain chemistry. Ketones are not a problem. Prolonged absence of metabolic flexibility is. Fat cells, lipolysis, and the hidden cost. What fat cells do when insulin disappears. Your fat cells are not lazy storage units. They are endocrine organs. They release hormones. They communicate with your brain. They respond to insulin. When insulin is high, fat cells store energy. When insulin is low, they release it. This release is called lipolysis. Triglycerides inside fat cells break apart into fatty acids and glycerol. These enter your bloodstream and travel to your liver, muscles, and heart to be burned. This is fat loss. This is what people want. But lipolysis is not free. When insulin stays low for many hours or days, lipolysis becomes relentless. Your fat cells keep releasing. Your liver keeps converting. Your blood fills with free fatty acids. And if you're not moving, not using that fuel, those fatty acids circulate. They can deposit in the liver. They can increase oxidative stress. They can trigger low-grade inflammation in blood vessels. Your body is burning fat, but it's also flooding itself with breakdown products it may not be using efficiently. Worse, chronic low insulin can lead to adipose tissue dysfunction. Your fat cells stop responding properly. They become resistant to restoring energy. They release inflammatory cytokines. And this is called sick fat. And it happens not from eating too much, but from metabolic imbalance, from never giving your fat cells a break, from staying in lipolysis without cycling back into storage. Fat burning is healthy. Fat burning without rest is stress. Hormonal suppression under chronic low insulin. When the body reads low insulin as scarcity, your hormones are not independent. They communicate. They cascade. And insulin is part of that conversation. When insulin levels stay consistently low, especially combined with calorie restriction or prolonged fasting, your body begins to interpret this as scarcity, not starvation, just less. And in response, it downregulates non-essential systems. Your thyroid slows. T3 conversion drops. You feel colder. You move less. Your metabolism compensates. Leptin, and the hormone that signals energy abundance, falls. Your brain thinks you're running out of fuel, even if you're burning fat efficiently. In women, low insulin combined with low leptin can suppress reproductive hormones. Periods become irregular. Ovulation stops. Fertility shuts down. The body says, this is not the time to build a human. In men, testosterone may drop. Libido fades. Recovery slows. This is not a disease, it's a survival response. Your body's trying to protect you. It thinks food is scarce. It thinks energy is limited. So it turns off anything that costs too much. And here's the irony. People keeping insulin low to optimize health may be signaling their body into conservation mode. You're not sick. You're just signaling scarcity. See what happens when balance is restored. The body's return to rhythm. Low insulin is not the goal. Flexible insulin is. Your body is designed to move between states, fed and fasted, anabolic and catabolic, storage and release. Health is not found in one extreme. It's found in the rhythm. When you reintroduce carbohydrates after a period of low insulin, when you eat when insulin rises, your body doesn't panic, it rebuilds. Glycogen stores refill. Muscles absorb amino acids. Protein synthesis ramps up. Your liver shifts from fuel production back to storage and repair. Your thyroid gets the signal that energy is available. Leptin rises. Reproductive hormones stabilize. Your brain gets glucose again. Memory sharpens. Mood lifts. This is not a cheat. This is biology. The people who feel best long-term are not those who keep insulin low forever. They are those who cycle, who fast and feast, who give their body both the challenge of low insulin and the recovery of adequate fuel. Metabolic flexibility means your body can burn fat when insulin is low and build tissue when insulin rises. It means you're not stuck in one mode. You're responsive, resilient, adaptable. That's what health looks like at the cellular level. Your body doesn't fear insulin. It needs it. Not constantly, not excessively, but rhythmically. When insulin stays low for hours, your body adapts. It burns fat. It produces ketones. It shifts fuel sources. But it also begins to ask, is there enough? And if the answer stays no for too long, the body pulls back. It conserves. It sacrifices growth for survival. This is not damage in the moment. It's strategy. But strategy without rest becomes strain. In understanding how insulin works, not as an enemy, but as a signal, is the first step to using it wisely. Health is not found in extremes. It's found in balance, in rhythm, in knowing when to push and when to restore. Your body is always listening. The question is, what are you telling it?